Sunday.
Joe Burrow's going to score 3 touchdowns. He got his guys, Higgins and Chase. They restructured Chase Brown's contract. There are no excuses for this offense not to put up a ton of points. Cleveland should be a win. Unlike all the other starts of the season that they've had under Zach Taylor, they should get out hot. And Joe Burrow should throw 3 touchdowns on.
And he may need them all if his defense struggles as badly as it has. Lewis, let's talk about Bijan Robinson. How many yards from scrimmage do you like for him in a big game against Tampa Bay?
I'm going to say 110. He maybe goes over that, maybe not. Look, I think Tampa Bay's for real. I think that's a team that's being slept on. I think their defense is going to be formidable, but this dude is the truth. There's nothing he can't do. He can run it inside, outside, catch it out of the backfield. 110 may be low ultimately, but I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team not to be slept on.
He's on the number 1 pick in a lot of fantasy drafts. And then finally, Nick, how many rushing touchdowns for Saquon tomorrow night against Dallas?
Yeah, I just got 1 rushing touchdown for Saquon. I suspect that this is going to be more of a big Jalen Hurts game. I think Saquon obviously is going to be incredible because he always is, but we have the tush push that's going to steal a couple of touchdown opportunities from Saquon. And also, I think Hurts through the air is going to be the focus of the Eagles in this competition.
Well, it would be interesting to see what they choose to do against Dallas, but what they've already chosen to do is fascinating. They're the defending champs. And I'm always interested in the psychology of how champions choose to go about that defense. But I want you to hear from Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown about how little time they're spending in the rearview mirror.
How do you feel about the fact that even though it's banner night for you guys, the fans will still have the standard of performing and winning at a high level?
Yeah, I didn't know it was banner night. We won't be out for that.
You know, I think from the outside, I think the city and everybody has been talking about it, but you know, this building has been locked in. You know, we put it at the bed long ago, and like I said, we just ready to go. You know, that's over with.
Okay, so I listened to that one more carefully this time because I thought that when we did the notes yesterday, I thought the most important part was him saying we're not going to be out there for banner night. That's significant. How about him saying he didn't even know it was banner night? I mean, that is either not true or it is so myopic, like his focus is so singular, he didn't even realize they're raising the championship banner that these guys have worked their entire lives to earn.
I've covered a bunch of season openers, and every single one of them, since they started them on Thursday nights, they raise the banners. Nick Sirianni knows that. He knows that. I also would say, as much as we're ESPN, we have this new partnership with WWE, there is a little bit of the wrestling feel to this too, in that Sirianni is saying, we are going to play the heel this season. We are not. He does have to report to a boss, though. Is Jeffrey Lurie aware, the owner, that his team is not going to be on the sidelines when the banner gets raised? I am very fascinated to see at 8 o'clock Thursday night if we see the Philadelphia Eagles on the field or not. If they're in the locker room while they raise the banners and it's ho-hum, that would be very, very unique for a team who's looking to defend and celebrate a Super Bowl championship.
So that part of it aside, I do think it is all super interesting. But I also think this, just to genuinely the psychology of how teams go about this. And I read stories this summer that Jalen Hurts reached out to Michael Jordan. You know, they can't get any better than that, obviously, and what it's like to come back and defend a championship and all that sort of thing. So the psychological piece of it, I think, is interesting. Nick, what do you think, as my resident psychologist, what do you think of the way they're going about it, basically saying we're not defending anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nick Sirianni has come a long way as far as being a leader. I think he chose his words very carefully. I think there's a couple of ways to go about this. You want to create 2 things with your team, and Lewis mentioned this earlier. It's like you want to avoid complacency. You want to create some sort of togetherness. The togetherness is always created by us against the world. Nobody likes us. Everyone's coming to get us. And you want to create some sort of a way to avoid complacency, like a reason to do the extra work. If you come into this season in a celebratory mood, then it's like, all right, maybe I don't have to stay after. I'm not as hungry. When you're working to like prove yourself, it's a little different. So I think that's the approach that he's taking. I think it's fine to go the other way and say, we're champs now, so we have to work twice as hard. That's one way to go about it. But Sirianni's going the other way where it's like, just forget it even happened. None of it ever happened. We are still trying to prove ourselves in a way, which, I mean, I think back to his opening press conference, Nick Sirianni has become like a much better coach in ways that I think are shown through him winning the Super Bowl, but not something that I think is readily like available for us to appreciate all the time. But seeing that clip, he looked confident in control.
That's fair. So there's the psychological piece. And now let's dive into the actual game itself. The Dallas Cowboys are a fascinating team to me. That's who the Eagles play tomorrow night, in case you're not aware. Because a month ago, I was sitting here thinking, they could be pretty good this year. Like, they added George Pickens. This offense should be explosive. If Dak Prescott is healthy, every time Dak Prescott has been healthy, they win a lot of games. When last seen healthy, he was the runner-up for MVP of the league. And the defense might be a little better. Matt Eberflus knows how to coach a defense. Then they go and have a month worth of ridiculous drama with Micah Parsons and ultimately trade away their best defensive player. So I guess what I'm asking you is, are the Cowboys there to be the sacrificial lambs in this opening game, or do you see Dallas making this a game that is worth watching all the way to the end of the fourth quarter?
In particular, because it's week 1, yeah, I think it's absolutely going to be something you're going to watch all the way to the fourth quarter, because these games are always a roll of the dice. You don't know how anybody's going to react to actually playing football for 3 straight hours when you basically have been playing, with just helmets and maybe shells and shoulder pads all preseason long. That being said, look, this team has a ton of firepower. We know that on the offensive side of the football. They got to create explosives down the field. This cannot be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust game. Dak has to earn his money. CD has to earn his money. George Pickens has to go ahead and go off so he can get his eventually. So they have the ability to do that. The question is this. Even with a guy like Kenny Clark coming in there, and now, as Jerry said, they can stop the run. We're going to find out if you can stop the run, because this is the best offensive line in football. So let's find that out.
Kmart, what do you expect?
Oh, I mean, I think the Eagles are going to win this one, but I think the Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer is a first-time head coach where your best player has just been traded away. I think he has to come in there in that the night before meeting and say exactly what Nick Sirianni is telling his team, which is, hey, nobody's picking us, nobody expects anything. This is an opportunity. Hey, everybody's talking about how our best player's out the door and in Green Bay. Defense, it's on you. Guys have to be better. Dak, you're healthy. Like, we've got George Pickens, this offense. For me personally, where's the pass rush coming from? Who's running the football, and can they run it effectively for the Cowboys? And can the Cowboys defense stop the run? Those are questions that still need to be answered, but it's a
Look at the screen.
right here.
If Brian Schottenheimer is looking for any more motivation, there it is. The whole world doesn't think we can win.
Get it up. To Kimberly's point, I spoke to sources in Dallas, and I said, well, how do you replace that? And they're very high on Sam Williams. They're very high on Dante Fowler. What's the BC rookie that they took?
Donovan Ezeraku.
They love him.
Yep.
They don't think, internally in that building, they don't think they are suddenly falling off a ledge without Micah Parsons. If they were a Super Bowl contender with Micah Parsons last year, they certainly weren't when Dak went down, and they weren't even relevant when it mattered. So they're without Micah, and they believe they've got some young legs, and they can hold their own in the pass rush, and they got better inside with Kenny Clark. Whether that's true or false, we'll have to see.
I will say this. I don't know that the Cowboys win the game. I love them plus the 7.5. It's a big number. I mean, plus 7.5 is a very big number. It moved over the sort of magical line of 7 with the Micah trade. It went from 6.5 to 7.5. I don't know that Dallas wins the game, but I love the Cowboys plus the
That
number.
graphic is so incriminating for all of us.
Yeah, especially week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, week 1 is an absolute toss-up across the league.
Especially if, as Peter suggests, the owner is going to force Nick Sirianni against his will to bring us out there onto the field and watch the banner go up, and they'll be overcome by complacency. And the next thing you know, the Cowboys are running it up and down the field.